Welcome to Debbie's Grill, where we talk about issues that matter to the state, void of politics, fear or favor. Public criticism over the decision to name Greater Accra Regional Minister Linda Oklo as the country's best performing minister has continued to grow following recent flooding incidents in parts of Accra. The controversy deepened after the presidency distanced itself from the awards, stressing that the recognition was the work of a private organization and not an official government assessment of ministerial performance. So the founder and executive chair of Big Events Ghana, Prince Mackay, defended the decision and insisted that the award was based on a clearly defined assessment period that preceded the recent flooding crisis. According to him, critics have overlooked the timeline used for the evaluation. He explained that the awards covered performance between 2025 and May 2026 and were not intended to assess events that occurred after the evaluation period had ended. Prince Mackay argued that the public reaction has been heavily influenced by the recent floods, making it difficult for many people to separate current events from the period under review. He maintained that the assessment considered actions taken by the Greater Accra Regional Minister from the beginning of her tenure. Defending the minister's record, he pointed to what he described as a sustained engagement on issues affecting capital, particularly effort to address structures built on waterways and Ramsar sites. He said the minister demonstrated fairness in enforcing regulation even when influential people were affected. Prince Mackay suggested that public opinion might have been different had the recent flooding not occurred. His comment comes amid growing debate over the credibility of the awards and whether recognition of public officials should take into account unfolding events that shape public perception. Despite the criticism, the organizers insist the award was based strictly on the assessment criteria and the performance period announced before the recent floods changed the national conversation. So just as we said, during the previous week, some ministers of state were being awarded for the good work they've done so far as they've been appointed as ministers to control the affairs of their office. What they were able to do. And so this award is just to encourage and motivate them to do more. Now, after these ministers were being awarded, there were a lot of speculations and criticism here and then based on the work they've done and all that. And personally, when I saw some of the awards, I kept asking myself a lot of questions. And I asked myself, on what criteria and on what basis were these people awarded? Now, some people are saying that they were given an award based on their performance in 2025. You see, for me, awards should be given to ministers at the end of their tenure. So it's not about how you started, but how well you end in the office. That is the most important thing. We have a lot of people who started well and then they end in misery. So even if you look at normal school awards, it is after a semester. And even with that, let me say, first term, there is nothing like an award for first term. Second term, third term, when you be graduating to the next class, that is when they give awards. So they compiled from your first term in class 3, second term in class 3 to third term in class 3. Maybe first term you had first in class, that you topped the whole class. The second term you topped the whole class. The third term you topped the whole class. Then they give you award for your effort. They don't just give you award because in the first term you had first. Your class teacher might encourage you to do more. Yes, because he knows there will be a reward for you at the end of your terms being spent in that particular class. When we take a look at VGMA and other awards, the awards is being given yearly. That is what they do. So as for an award is being given based on your performance throughout. It's not as if when the office is being handed over to you, you've done your work for 1 month and then after that you are being given an award. And allegedly, some people are alleging that these people have paid for it. And you see, I saw a video where she came out to defend herself that she's the right person to take that award. Now, a lot of people are also basing on the flooding issue, and that is a major concern as it stands now. What are they doing about the flood? And you see, the most funny aspect is that the way till it gets worse, then they go about demolishing structures. For me, that is not a permanent measure to fight against flooding issue. Even before floods occur, there have to be a strategic measure that needs to be put in place. So you prepare ahead. In the Harmattan season, you prepare ahead for the raining season. Because you know that when it starts to rain, this is what happens. So what do? You prepare ahead. You don't wait for it. You don't wait when the rainy season is due. That is when you go about demolishing people's structures. You go with cameras all over you and all that. No. That is not it. And you see, one person that also received the award has to do with Emmanuel Kofi Boa, the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources. We still have Galamsey in progress. Yes. People are still mining on our forest reserves, on our water bodies and all that. And the whole minister went on ground and he was crying. This is the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources moving on ground to expect what is going on. And then he was crying. See, if we want to award all ministers based on their first step, then I think all the ministers need awards. Because when all these ministers was appointed, they all did well. To be sincere with you, everybody is doing well in their office. And everybody did well. So if they are giving them awards based on their first term, that has to do with 2025, they are giving them the award based on their performance in 2025, then all the ministers should be given awards. Because they all did well. But awards are given after you are done with that tax. If the tax is given to you for 4 years, for 5 years, after the 5 years, that is when maybe you'll be given an award for your hard work. And that is why sometimes you hear a lot of people saying, it's not how you started, but how well you finish the race. That is what matters the most. So you might start war and end in misery. You might start war and also end in success. There are two things involved. So if ministers are being given an award because they are doing well based on their performance in 2025, then all the ministers should be given an award because in 2025 they all performed. But let's take Galamsey for example. Galamsey is still ongoing. Our forests are destroyed. Our water bodies are polluted. There have been initiatives, there have been policies, there have been measures that they themselves thought is going to bring an end to illegal mining, is going to permanently solve Galamsey. But Galamsey is still in existence. We still have people going into our forest reserves to mine, on our water bodies to mine. And then we have citizens in that community that depend on that water for survival. We don't even care about the aquatic animals in those waters. We do not even care. What we are interested in is to get that gold. And that gold is not being mined legally. It's being mined illegally. And we have a whole minister of lands and natural resources. So what are we doing? A whole minister goes on ground and you are crying. I'm not saying you shouldn't be emotional. You see, sometimes when you see things going like you take a look at what is going on, whether in your life or whatever it is, sometimes you feel so emotional and you are free to cry. You feel like you're just free to pour out your heart, so you feel so okay and comfortable. No one is against that. But you see, the crisis we are dealing with is nothing, it has nothing to do with emotions. If emotions should solve Galamsey, then we should have solved Galamsey or bring a stop to it. But Galamsey does not understand the tears that is coming out. The people have already purported their mind to mine in our water bodies and in our forest reserves, do not care about the amount of tears that flows. What they care is to get in there, destroy the water, destroy the forest, and get the gold. Because it's alleged that when they mine, the money they get in a day is more than what you take in a month. And so, although mining is a death trap, it's lucrative for them. And I see mining to be one, because that is somebody's career or that is somebody's profession. And it's something that when you get in that pit, the possibility or the probability of you coming up is not guaranteed. You might go in and not come out. But people risk their life because of the money attached to it. And these are things that we need to deal with. We have people, foreigners who come in to mine our golds, destroy our forests, and they are being deported. Which you and I know that when you get yourself in one of those countries, you will not be deported. The laws will deal with you. So I feel like this should be things that should be based on to give these people an award. So you can defend it. When I was the minister, so you can proudly hit on your chest, when I was the minister of natural lands and natural resources, I was able to bring an end to Galamsey. When I was the minister of Greater Accra, I brought a stop to flooding because the right measures were being put in place. This is what we want. And you see, we are all applauding the government and the president because they said the award they've taken has nothing to do with them. And this is some private institution who thought it wise that they should award these people. And I think this award has a lot of questions. For me, if you want to award someone, it's not based on the first term of the person. At least you should pay critical attention to what the person does till the person finishes or complete that task. Then you award the person. Because we have a whole regional minister and we still experience flood. I'm not saying it says her fault. Some of the citizens, are mentally insane. And that is why they dispose refuse in flowing waters. And so these people needs to be dealt with. What are the measures that are put in place to deal with these people? That is what we are talking about here. Thank you for making time with me on the screen.